Welcome to Make Your Big Impact. I'm Angel Tuccy, your host, also known as the Book Angel, and this is the show for authors, speakers, and thought leaders who know their story isn't just meaningful, it's meant to move people, create influence, and drive real results. And today's episode is one of my favorite formats because we're hosting a roundtable conversation with powerful voices who've each taken their message and turned it into impact in their own unique way. And they're about to share what they're actually working on. And when you're ready to step into visibility, authority, and leadership, these are their tips. These are their stories. Let me introduce today's panel. First, we have Michael Neeley, a brand new groom straight from his honeymoon. Michael is a high-level business mentor and personal development coach. He and his bride have created a thriving community of soul-based entrepreneurs. Next, Kimberly Crowe. Kimberly is the high-energy broadcast personality of Speaker's Playhouse and the creator of Entrepreneur's Rocket Fuel. She has spoken on over 5,000 stages and holds a wealth of knowledge on landing and leveraging speaking opportunities. Originally from Southern California, she now lives virtually everywhere, traveling full-time as an inspirational speaker in locations around the world. And her motto is, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. Joining us as well is Sherri Combs. She's a senior advocate, entrepreneur, and author dedicated to restoring trust, dignity, and protection in aging. She is the founder of Silver Streak Senior Services, where the idea came out of a moment of frustration, thinking to herself, it shouldn't be this hard to find great help. She has built a trust-first community platform, helping seniors and caregivers navigate aging-related decisions before a crisis occurs. We also have Christine Campbell Rapin, a global strategic growth expert who kept seeing business owners do the hokey pokey with their business development and never creating sustainable client growth, doing everything except for building the business foundations that create results. And rounding out our panel today is Dr. Mike Ratner. Dr. Mike, he was 13 years old when he found his burning bush moment, and we are going to get to the bottom of that story here today. And I'm Angel Tuccy, author of Authorlicity, where I show authors how to become the obvious choice in your industry, create ongoing publicity and new revenue streams with a book in one hand and a guest microphone in the other. On today's episode, you're going to hear different perspectives, but one shared mission, making a bigger impact with the message they were each called to share. Before we dive in, I would love for each of you to share in one sentence the impact you're most passionate about making right now. And Michael Neeley, I'm going to start with you.
Awesome. Well, Angel, the big impact that my wife Chris and I are really excited about right now is helping people to wake up, to live more fully in the present moment, to experiencing wins on a regular basis, and to really live a life of freedom and fun.
I love it. Look at that. And you got that down in one sentence. And I want to elaborate a little bit more on that in just a minute. How about you, Kimberly? What's the impact you're most passionate about making right now?
Funny you should ask. Impact is not my word. I love the word contribution. Impact sounds to me like violent, but I guess everybody in our community uses it. So I have to just nod along with it and be like, yes, make a big impact. I love that. And I think that when we are out there, it can be a very, very powerful way to help other people. Just sharing our message and speaking up. So I create opportunities for people to step up and shine and share their message for the world. I think it's important to know that if you're hiding, you may be hiding for you, but it's really a disservice to the people that you could be helping instead of hiding.
Very good. Interesting, right? With the word impact, language is everything. And words trigger things in so many people. But I'm the least violent person you would know. So,
I know you
right,
are.
right. But I love it. I love that you actually said that, and that contribution is your word. How about you, Sherri? I know you're doing some really important stuff in the world right now, and you're just on fire for it.
Yeah, I am. I'm really, really super passionate about it because, we need to harden the target around the senior community against the scammers. So I'm really the impact that I want to make is helping. The way that we do that is helping good people be found. So when we create a platform like I did that helps the good people really easy to navigate, easy to find, then they don't have to go searching in unsafe places with unsafe people where you can't tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. And so it's really important that we band together and that we make ourselves easy to find, and that elevates us in the communities as the good guys, and then the seniors that we love, we can serve.
That, right? And especially as we're getting, our parents are at that space, right? We're realizing that this really is
Yeah.
an untapped service. So thanks so
And
much
we're
for showing
aging
up.
into that space. It will affect us before we know it, whether
Oh,
we want to admit it or not.
I don't want to
We're
admit it.
next.
I don't want to admit it, but
We're
you
next.
are right. You are right.
Mm.
Christine, how about you? Tell me about what you're most passionate about right now.
I want to see entrepreneurs have businesses that feel like oxygen instead of this crisis of, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not working and I'm getting broker every day. To witness somebody go, I get to do this. I understand how to do this. I'm actually doing it. Oh my God, I love this and I love my life. We need more of that kind of entrepreneurs, and small business changes small towns. They change our families. And that's the way we're going to really create some amazing spaces for people to play, live, and create wealth.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it is like there's so many people who want to be entrepreneurs, but they're struggling. There's just this epidemic of struggling entrepreneurs. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And I see you out there marching forward and changing that culture. How about you, Dr. Mike? What are you most passionate about? Because I am going to want to hear about your burning bush moment. But right now, what are you
Well,
most
this is
passionate
happening
about?
right now. It's all in this moment. So, yeah, I'm definitely concerned as a social scientist with everything I can relate to what everybody said. And so I'm looking at community contribution and how we feel that we can contribute to community, but also be a part of it. And this becomes a new conscious awareness that's going to uplift humanity. That's my burning bush.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Right. So many people in the room, so many different things that they are passionate about and what's guiding them and leading them. And there's room at the table for all of us. And think about what you're most passionate about right now, what's driving you. These are people that I will tell you, I've been in the rooms with them. I've shared stages with them. I've seen their hearts with everybody except for you, Dr. Mike. We haven't shared a room or a stage together yet. I'll say that. And but here's what I know. Like when you follow your heart and you follow what you're most passionate about, you'll never make a mistake. You will find your way. But what I want to find out from our panelists today was that turning point. Like why? What was the moment you decided like this is what the thing is that I want to share my story. This is what I want to go after. This is the contribution or impact that I want to make in the world. Michael, what was that turning point for you?
I wish I could point to just one, Angel, but the reality is for me that I just respond to what's being called for. It was just been my whole evolution as an entrepreneur is I might do something and I become successful at something, and then people start asking me, well, how did you do that? Or what can you show me? Or what can you teach me or bring forward? So it's been this constant calling forward of it. And then recently my relationship with Krista, uh, people just love being around the magic of the two of us together. They see us, the constant comments about like, you guys are so just, there's something about you, the love that we have, the vibrancy that we share together that people are asking and seeming to want more of that. So like, how did you create that? So that's what I respond to and keep coming forth with that.
Okay, so that's what you respond to now, right? Because now it comes so naturally to you. Like you're like, this is like you see the need, you see the demand, people are asking you. But when you started, like, how did how did you decide? Like, yeah, I'm actually going to go out and I'm going to start this. I'm going to share this with others, and I'm going to teach them, and respond to the
Sure.
call.
Well, you know what? Actually, it's funny. It started in the podcasting space because I started a podcast and it just took off real quickly. And I had a couple million downloads and people started asking me, people who'd been podcasting 5 times longer than me were like, how did you do that? What did you do? And so it made me really look at it to then go, can I teach other people what I did to do it effectively as well? And so that was the first thing. And then I got asked, well, how did you grow your audience? And how do you do giveaways? And how do you do this? And how do you do that? So it was a constant of always being asked for what's next.
I love that. And now you guys are doing something new,
Yeah.
the game room.
The game, yeah, it's actually an acronym in the place of the game, but it stands for Generating Alignment, Meaning, and Expansion. And it's really about looking at our life as a game. And this is what I talked about when I mentioned bringing awareness to it. When we look at it, that we can get caught up in the character or the role that we're playing, and forgetting that we are the bigger player. You know, we are a bigger consciousness who can see the full board in the game. And we get caught up in the character, and it can make life pretty miserable. Or we find ourselves playing a game that somebody else said, oh, well, this is what winning looks like, or you should be doing this, or you should be doing that, instead of stepping into our player and going, wait a minute, is that the game I really want to play? And are those the rules I really want to play by? And so we help people to shift that way of looking at their lives to bring ultimately more happiness.
I love that. I love that. And I love watching the two of you. And you can see people respond to the two of you. They're just like in your orbit, right? Like a vortex that you kind of bring people into. How about you, Kimberly? You are like everywhere all the time. The woman of the, like, you were so involved. You've got one of the largest networks. Both you and Michael have built incredible communities. But what was the pivot? Like, what made you decide, yeah, this is what I'm going to go out and do?
Because it wasn't fun anymore.
Ah.
I probably did what most of your listeners did. I did what they told us to do. Like I went to school and I went to college and I got a good job with health insurance and I worked at corporate and climbed the corporate ladder and I was there for 17 years and 15 of them were pretty good. And the last two, not so much. It
Mm.
was really not fulfilling. And I was an executive director at a Fortune 1000 company making a lot of money and my kids were at home with babysitters and my husband and I was at work at 10 o'clock at night after they'd gone to bed thinking, why am I here? What am I doing? What like when does the life part happen? When does that part happen, right? And so it was very, very hard to be in what they call golden handcuffs. And
Mhm.
then eventually I had the ability to, I tried to quit for about 2 years, didn't work. They kept hiring me back, trying different positions that maybe I'd like more, which is a big compliment. But eventually we decided to part as friends before it got really bad.
Mm.
And and then I thought, ooh, I'll start a business. That'll be fun. I'll just, hang my own shingle and do my own thing. And there were a lot of fits and starts in there. There were a lot of things that didn't work before I started just doing the things that I love to do. And it's tempting. It's so tempting for somebody to say, Kimberly, you have this community and they're starting to follow you. So why don't you build out a coaching program? Or why don't you build out, this? Or why don't you do these things with it? And to be able just to say, you know what, I've done the things that other people told me to do, and now I want to do what I want to do, and I just want to keep doing that and make money at it. And that's a real flag in the ground to plant. It's difficult to stick to that. And that really was the secret to my success is as the first thing was great, create a mastermind to charge $10,000 for people. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like that doesn't sound fun to me. It sounds fun to other people, and they're doing it way better than I would have ever done it, but it doesn't sound fun to me. So I had to stick to what's giving me joy when I wake up and I look forward to doing the things every day. As one of our panelists said, you got to love it. I want you to love entrepreneurship every day. I want everybody to love entrepreneurship every day and do what they love. So I really stick to my guns on that. And I came up with an acronym that I'll share quickly called Get on the Road to Joy. ROAD is my acronym. So R is relish it, love it, rejoice in it. If you love it, keep doing it. And if you don't, it has to go in another bucket. And O is for outsource. That
Mm.
means pay somebody else to do it. A is automate it. So if you don't want to clean your house, buy a Roomba, right? And D is delete it. Just get it
Mm.
off your plate entirely. So I've stuck to my guns on that for the last 10 years and it's worked out pretty well.
I have seen you walk in that walk. This isn't just theory for you, Kimberly. I've actually seen you step into it, for sure. And Christy, I'm going to go into you next because I feel like this is a nice little segue. Like this is exactly who you serve is that person who is at the beginning of their journey and they're trying to figure out what do I do? How do I monetize this? But what was that moment for you, that turning point that said, yeah, I want to help that entrepreneur that is struggling, who's playing hokey pokey with all the things. What was that for you, Christine?
I will be completely candid. I never had the vision to set and create the vision and the business I have now. I was not that creative. I'll be honest. I set out to be a great entrepreneur, and through lots of conversations over coffee or glasses of wine, I kept observing that people were spending 40 to 60 hours in business and not creating any clients. And I started my first business as a side hustle, working on top of a big corporate job. I was newly engaged, traveling, doing tons of stuff in my corporate life, becoming a bonus mom. And I was like, I have an hour a day to do this, and to do this well and to do it effectively. And I had the skills to commercialize within that hour. And I was like, guys, you're doing the hokey pokey. Like you've got one foot in, one arm in, you're shaking everything around. It's completely a train wreck. What's happening? And they're like, well, I was told to do all this stuff. And I'm like, by who? The gurus. I'm like, you do not have the same business as a guru. You don't have the same capital, the same network, the same skills, the same team. This is crazy. Simplify it. Business is actually very elegantly simple. 2 things predict your revenue. Do that until you're successful and keep everything else off the plate. And people are like, I can see you do it. And I'm like, great. That's good evidence. You can do it too. And it was an invitation. You can do it too. And inevitably time would come, 3, 6 months come by, we'd intersect in some other community. And I'm like, what the heck? You're still doing the damn hokey pokey. And it's really not attractive. What's happening? And then people would say, I'll pay you. Can you help me? And I'm like, no, emphatically. No, it's weird. I think that was actually my response. No, it's weird. I don't understand why you want to pay me to do this. It's absurd. I have a job. I have a whole life. I'm not. No. And a good friend who I became friends with, I actually met them also podcasting. And he said to me, you're not paying attention. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you have a lot of experience in the world of business. You've helped people make more than $1 billion in revenue. To you, it is like oxygen, and to them, they're dying with life support and need oxygen. And your experience isn't like most business coaches out there where they've taken a coaching certificate but never worked in a realm of business. It's like, how many people have you hired? How many people have you fired? How many team members have you had? How much financial money did you need to raise? How many businesses did you close? And I'm like, yes. And he said, I see the knives in your back. This is your way to serve. God called you to do this. Get your head out of your butt and say yes the next time somebody says, I want to pay you. And it took some time for me to sit with that because I was still going, it's weird. But I bumbled my way into my first client when I was on a guest, or I was as a guest on a podcast with somebody I had loose connections to in a community I was part of. And she said, well, what does it cost? I said, I don't understand the question. She said, what does it cost? I said, for what? She said, to hire you. I said, I still don't understand the question. She said, well, I need to figure out what to say, who to say it to, how to say it, so I can commercialize this idea. I was actually serving senior citizens, much like Sherri. And she said, I really want to bring communities together, but I cannot figure this out. And I've spent 8 years and lots of zeros to do this. And you seem to know how to do
How long
this.
did that take from the time that you finally said yes to that first client to actually maybe even your second?
Well, the first client after that first conversation, it probably came within weeks. And I had I had a business that I'd fully committed to within 6 months at that point because it started to snowball. Yeah. And I just said, stay in the room. I can help you. And okay, I'll figure out how to take payment. And that's how it all started.
That's how it all started. I like to say, and I think Ginny has probably quoted me on this one. You might have heard it, Kimberly, is what you think is ordinary is magic to others. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we struggle with the pricing because it does come so naturally to us. Or maybe we do have it's a side hustle, and how do we price that? And it is a little bit weird the first time that you take a credit card, but I love that you stepped into it and you had a mentor, right? That just kind of reminded you of all the journey that you've been through, that you were qualified, more probably overly qualified.
And I kept hiring mentors to say, just go do the work. Because that 2x4, needs to be
sometimes
brought to the table more than once.
All right. Well, you teed it up for Sherri because you were working with somebody who was helping seniors. Sherri, how about you? I know you read, like I read about you. You're like, it doesn't have to be this hard. Yeah. But even though it was, like, why did you decide to take this on? Because this is a big undertaking.
It is a big undertaking, but I'm up for the challenge. I had the grit and the drive. Back in the 1990s, I started mortgage companies inside Century 21s and then later on Keller Williams. And I built those throughout California. So I kind of built the model for that. Then 2008 happened. And I was a little burnt out from running all those as an executive director and starting all of those and launching them and getting them all their HUD approvals and audits and everything all over the place. So I was like, I need a break. So I went into banking. Well, I helped my husband start a catering company because he was a chef, but then I decided to go, well, that was like too much physical work for me. So I went into banking in the corporate world and I said, I'm not going to be a manager. I don't want to be a director. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to coast till I retire. That's fine. Playing small. Was in the private banking space, became like in the top 1% across the country of all the bankers. So that was good. But a lot of my clients were seniors and a lot of them were business owners, some small business owners, medium, and then very large clients that I helped as well, being in private banking. But all of them, it didn't matter how much money they had. When that crisis hit, when somebody broke their hip, when somebody had a stroke, it didn't matter. Everybody was the same. That crisis hit, and it's like, where do I go? What do I do? How do I navigate this? And I would spend hours trying to help them as well connected as I was. What I saw a lot on the other side was I saw a lot of people that were frustrated taking care of being in that sandwich generation, trying to run a career, whether they were in corporate or an entrepreneur, it didn't matter, trying to take care of children, trying to take care of kids that were in high school, and trying to take care of mom, and then getting frustrated. And then I watched a lot of my clients that had to move in with their children kind of decline rapidly because of the lack of autonomy that they were experiencing. Don't go on the internet. Don't buy anything on Facebook. Don't search for this. Don't hire anybody. We're stripping them of their autonomy because there's no safe place for them because everybody scammed them. I can't tell you in the bank how many people I saw being scammed. I just kept a box of tissues at my desk for people crying at my desk from losing fortunes from scams. It was heartbreaking. I also watched a lot of people come in and think that they had all their paperwork in order from their attorneys for estate planning, and it fell apart. And I had to be the bearer of bad news of why it wasn't executable. And so that's what I address in my book. But the platform itself, I actually started a nonprofit and I said, I'm going to put an adult daycare together. And my family was going to move out into an apartment and we were going to turn this house around and we were going to turn it. And I filed the nonprofit paperwork and that's where it started. And I said, and that I'm going to make a place where seniors can come in the day while their kids are working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and they can thrive here. And we're going to do amazing things and we're going to make them feel good about life and we're going to just do all kinds of wonderful things. And then I realized I could only fit about 12 people in here if I was lucky.
Right. Yeah, you were going to outgrow that. You were going to outgrow that
I'm like,
really,
I'm only
really
helping 12
quick.
families and I had to think bigger. So I was actually in the pool one day with my husband and we were talking and I had just helped a senior and had spent many hours and I said, it should not be this hard. I said, we need like an Angie's List or something for seniors. And then it was like my
There was your
brain was on
light bulb
fire. I
moment.
got this download, everything. It was just like on fire from, I could see, I always told my business owners, think about the end of your business and work backwards, right? Think about your exit strategy, like what's your end game? I saw the
Saw it
blueprint.
all. You saw
And
that.
I got out of the pool, I jumped in the computer and I haven't looked back and created the platform where we can highlight all those great business people that I met and we can actually shed a spotlight on them and we can pool their advertising dollars and help them be found by the consumer. It's very expensive for a business owner, a handyman, a plumber, electrician, a mobile notary, a wealth advisor, any of those people that are great. It's very hard for them to market to consumer. We tend to stay in silos with each other and market, but when they need consumers, it's very expensive. But if we band together, now we have those dollars that I turn into marketing dollars and get us to the actual
Yeah.
consumers
Yeah, do
when we
it
need them.
together as
We
a
do it
as a
together.
group. I love that. How about you, Dr. Mike? What was the moment you decided you need to start sharing your story publicly?
Post-divorce.
That'll do it.
So not like you and Michael, Angel, you have the great relationships, but really it's really identifying the calling and knowing that you've been not listening to it. And that forces you some situations to reckon with it. But even that first year, I tried to reinvent myself with different projects, chasing the dollar, that type of thing. And because part of it's a belief that in your own mind, the ideas might be very grandeur and you don't think they're achievable, or you're not the person to help make them happen. I'm sure you work that way with your book clients. They have the story inside them. You got to help them bring it out. So it just, at some point, you just keep running into the wall, It's amazing that, someone can be a social psychologist and not see it for their whole life, and just realize you got to live what you're passionate about, right? I call it the MVP, being really clear your mission, your vision, and your purpose. Then you become the most valuable player in your life. And at least in Silicon Valley, that's your minimum value proposition: is live true to your word. Be who you want to be, rather than what is manufactured in our society and the roles that we play out. Yeah, you should be good at whatever you do, but be true to yourself. I call it genuosity. It's like being authentic, but being generous with what this talent is.
Nice.
So that was the maker moment for me, to just say I can't do it anymore. I just have to be true to myself. There is no longer a choice other than to be that.
I think that's a common theme, like that all of you, a little thread, right? Is that we were doing something else, we were on a path and saw that it wasn't serving ourselves, and maybe we were doing a whole lot of shoulds, right? Because somebody else said we should, or because we were already on that path, or how much I'd invested in that, and it was too much to walk away from. Looking back, what would you say has accelerated your success the most or created the most momentum? And why has it worked? And Sherri, I'm going to start with you. What one action created your most success or most momentum?
I think it was the one action that created the most momentum, I would have to say, was just doing it, just going for it, not listening to the doubt. Right?
Mm,
Not talking myself out of something, but talking myself into something. And I really didn't have to talk myself into something. I was in love with the idea and the passion, but then I didn't reason all the reasons why it might not work or be difficult. So that I just went with that momentum. And then it was leveling up my skill set because I was going into a new space of technology that I wasn't really familiar with. Sitting at a bank for a decade was like, I got out and I'm like, Calendly is a what? I don't, it was all new. I'm like, oh boy. And so I took every class I could to really level up my skill set. So I knew how to talk to developers and web designers, and I knew the lingo, and I knew a little bit more about what I was doing. And I still find that I'm leveling up every day. So it was educating myself and becoming an expert in my field. I knew the problem, and that's what I wanted to fix.
mm,
I knew how to fix it, but there was minor details in there that were very important. So for me, the momentum was about gaining that skill set and investing the time into that skill set to level up where I needed to be, to hire the right team, to get the right people in place, and to continue to learn. And when things went bad, don't go bad with them. Somebody we both know and love says that a lot. When
yeah.
things go bad, don't go bad with them. And you do. You will have hiccups and those things along the way, but I've never doubted that what I was doing was going to be valuable or anything. There've been people who've like, and that's okay. I just moved to, they don't need to be a part of my journey, and that's okay. You find the
Yeah.
people that believe in your success, and that's who you bring in your inner circle.
I think we've all had those moments where we see the problem and you're like, I think, and this is what it's going to take to fix it. Oh, but it's going to be me. And then,
Yeah.
you decided, right? It is going to be me, and surrounding yourself with the right people that could help you, and taking that action. Sherri, how do we follow you? What's the best place to connect? How do people get in touch with you? If you've got a free gift, you can give that away here too. But what's that next move?
Go to silverstreakseniorservices.com. And you can find me there. So www.silverstreakseniorservices.com. And there's an info button on there. You're going to see a proof of concept there today. In 3 days, we're going to have a new look and a better user experience. And we are growing every day. So that is the best thing that we have. I have a workbook. If you go to the Just In Case Plan, www.thejustincaseplan. You can download a free workbook, and this is for smart strategies for long-term care, family conversations, and legacy protection. It's a companion to the book. It's in the book, but it's a companion to that. That is free for your listeners today to be able to go there and download that workbook. There's a lot of really good stuff in there and a lot of resources for caregivers and for seniors and for things they might not have thought about that they need to think about that we saw were lacking in plans all the time when I worked in banking. And so, having people prepared really helps you not feel in crisis mode, gives you peace of mind. And if I can help people with peace of mind, that's great. And if you follow me on social media, I'm going to be releasing some excerpts from the book, and two really beautiful pieces of the book are the letters that I wrote in the back. They're from my heart to seniors and to caregivers. And I encourage everybody to use those letters in all or in part and put your name on them and share them with people who need to hear them, because somebody in your life needs to feel valuable, seen, heard, and know that they matter. And sometimes it's hard for us to find our own words, and we just need that little kickstart. So if those letters help you find your own words to share that, great. If you don't, you can borrow mine, no problem at all, and make them your own. But I encourage people to do that. And I'll be released, they're in the book, but I'll be releasing excerpts of those on social media for people to use so that, we can all make those special people in our lives feel a little bit more special.
I love that. Okay, silverstreakseniorservices.com is the website, and thejustinCasePlan.com for your free workbook.
Yes.
I'm gonna need to get that. And then follow Sherri Combs on social media. Kimberly Crowe, we're gonna move with you next. What was the action that most accelerated your success and has created the most momentum, and why?
I guess it's been, truthfully, in my whole life, it was taking radical responsibility for just like, I'm responsible for what is happening in my life. That has been a real game changer for me. So when things go right, I'm like, awesome, I need to celebrate that. And when things don't go right, awesome, I created that, which
Mm.
also gives me the ability to create something different. And so if you take that radical responsibility and think, okay, what was my part that I played that made this part happen? I think that's a real game changer. And if you are stuck, then you are stuck, right? When I am stuck, I am sticking myself. So if you think in terms of what can I do differently? What can I bring to the table that's different, that is not being stuck? What are the things that I can do? I think it's really powerful. And if for my world, people that are out there and they're like, I'm not ready to speak yet, I'm getting ready. First, I'm going to get all my armor on, and then I'm going to like memorize my talk, and I'm going to be perfect, and I'm going to get my hair done, and I'm going to lose 40 pounds, and then I'm going to be ready to speak. And I'm like, just go, like go and do the thing and get on the mic. My motto is, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. But I do have a saying that is, if somebody hands you a mic, you say yes. So it's, if you are waiting to speak, then you are depriving somebody else of having the solution they need. And somebody with twice your price and half your talent is going to serve them instead. And that's just not the way the world is supposed to work. So take radical responsibility for where you are stuck and figure out what you can bring to the party that isn't staying stuck. And that was a game changer for me in my whole life, in my personal life, in my business life, in working with my kids and working with other people. I think it's really, really powerful. And it does unlock also the thing that everybody's after, which is the monetization. When you take personal responsibility for, my bank account is there because I did that, then you have the power to change what you're doing. And I think that was a game changer for me. It may not be ready, everybody might not be ready to step into that yet, but consider it, because it was definitely a game changer for me. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah. Oh, so powerful, because I think we kind of look at all those external things that are happening to us as the reason, right? As the reason why for our bank account, our relationships, our success. And I know, Kimberly, this isn't something that you promote a lot because it wasn't, I don't remember. You didn't like your outfit or something, but
Yeah, that's it. I've given over 5,000 talks. My best talk is going to be my next talk, but it certainly wasn't my TEDx talk. My TEDx talk I'm very proud of, but yes, if I could go back in time and change what I was wearing, I would definitely do that.
but I love that story about you, right? I just like it's like a personal, like, okay, right? We all have our thing that we struggle with. And yeah, and when I look back at it, I was expecting to find you like in a potato sack or something, the way you describe it. I'm like, okay, I can see, like your style and what you're wearing and what your fashion statement is, why it wasn't your favorite, but it is definitely, I really was expecting like a potato sack. Kimberly, how does our audience follow you? How do they get plugged into Kimberly's world?
Absolutely. So you can always come to speakersplayhouse.com. It's a free event that happens every Thursday live on Zoom. But I do have a gift for your audience. They can go to giftfromkimberly.com and they can find out how to make sure that their audience, when they're speaking, is engaged. And an engaged audience is more likely to take your offer at the end. So it is 10 secrets to engage your virtual audience.
Okay, giftfromkimberly.com. Definitely super valuable because we're all using speaking, right? We're all, no matter what audience, whether it's a large audience or a small audience. Well, Kimberly, thanks so much for being a guest here today.
Thanks, Angel, for having me. It's been a delight.
All right, Dr. Mike, how about you? I want to know, well, we want to give you a chance for our audience to follow you, but looking back, what was the one action that accelerated your success or gave you the most momentum?
Yeah, great question, and great to follow Kimberly because it is sort of how we play out our life, or at least our perception of it. And I have to say the probably the most meaningful situation outside of the burning bush story when I was at camp, thinking that I was going to follow Moses' footsteps and God's going to tell me where to go. It was in my mind imagining that that would happen, but it took many years later to kind of realize that how I'm seeing myself is really a projection in my mind. And the little brag is, if you remember a year ago, I got the trademark on IGO, so IGO as opposed to ego. The IGO is the selfie of the mind. And what's incredible in psychology, sociology, and philosophy, it's never been named before. And yet in our day, where we're all looking at selfies, we got to understand what is it that we're projecting in our mind. And that incident goes back all the way when I was in college. And I started thinking, gee, the way I'm projecting myself in the world is imposing on other people. And they may not like it, even though I might think I can get situations manipulated my way. It's like that's not serving, the greater good. And I think at some point we all have this reckoning, and the reckoning really is sort of to be nice to yourself, but recognize you don't want to continue to be that way anymore. And so that was a good turning point. And again, just taking, the shift to what's going on in our world today in society, we all want to make a difference. So it's really more important to step up in that role that you really want to play. And so, your work is certainly among the best in that capacity. And it certainly is an honor to be on the podcast. And so you can see drmike.org if people want to be in touch with me. But I'll say that Friendship Fellowship is my current project. And I just want to give a 10-second elaboration. So to combat the loneliness epidemic and what we're having happen in our society with polarization, we're at a very serious point, which we all know. So Friendship Fellowship is to re-empower friendship and to make our community connections more meaningful. And it could be a fellowship from my academic point of view, or it could be in a church or a community center. And so if we can align beyond our differences that, we do care for each other and we are concerned to have a desirable, sustainable future, then we can come together and have a community conversation. That was my dissertation, communityconversations.com. So a lot of plugs, but friendshipfellowship.com is really where this project this year would have roots. And we can get out there and help people sort of recognize their greater potential. And we all have the possibility to make a community contribution. So why not start here by being a really good friend?
I love that. I love that so much, especially right now with the technology, right? We're in an epidemic where we're so connected, but we feel more loneliness than ever before. Friendshipfellowship.com and drmike.org. Dr. Mike, thanks so much for being with us today.
It was an enjoyable pleasure. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. I'm going to go with you, Michael, next. Looking back, what was that one action that most accelerated your success or has created the most momentum?
I actually think it was probably two things. One started the momentum, and then another one was like rocket boosting that. And the first one also applies back to what, we talked about a little bit earlier about being called for something. I started out chasing money kind of to a large degree. I had a high-tech startup company and we were developing something that we thought was going to take the market by storm, and we're going to make millions off of this. And when we hit the end of our financial runway, we ran out of money from our, Series A funding round. It was when I kind of let go of chasing money and started seeing what was pulling me. What was I being called to in the world? And that was a monumental shift for me. And that's when everything started to turn around. And then the rocket fuel that got added to it is I also noticed Krista and I, even though we just got married, we've been together for 4 years now. And when Krista and I started our relationship, that was like rocket fuel. A lot of stuff that I had ideas about, like I started the Podcasters Cruise. I had ideas about it for 5 years. As soon as we were together, within a year, okay, we're launching the Podcasters Podcasters Cruise. I had ideas for building, infinite leads, another aspect of my business. As soon as we were together, boom, it took off. And now with the game. And so that was fuel to the fire, but still all of it is, what am I being pulled to do? And so I think those are the two big key elements for me that have been life changing.
Right, who we hang out with, right? It matters. It matters.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you and Krista for finding each other. It's been a beautiful match, both professionally and personally. And
Thank
so,
you.
Michael, how does our audience follow you? How can they stay connected and get involved with all the fabulous things that you and Krista have going on?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I could give you 4 or 5 websites, but let's just go with my simple one, michaelneeley.com. And I will say this, we just recently had it revamped, so it's still a little buggy. They're depending on when people are listening to this and going to it. If you see some little glitches, I apologize, but michaelneeley.com, and from there you can figure out all of the stuff that we do.
Michael Neeley, Neeley,
You got it.
michaelneeley.com. Well, thanks for being here, and
Thank
especially
you.
fresh right off of your honeymoon. That was like one of the first activities that you jumped right back into.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, you guys were working, you work and play. It's like all a little blur for the two
It's
of
a
you.
blend.
But I love it. I love it. Thanks for being here. All right, Christine, wrap us up. Take us home. What was the moment or the one action that gave you the most success or the most momentum?
I think without doubt it was paying to be in rooms with people who had created things that I aspired to create for myself. Because when I would approach them with, I've got this wild idea, they said, that's a great idea, go do it, and hold me accountable to get it done fast. And it improved my speed, it focused on execution, and it showed me that intimidated or nervous, had the capabilities that I couldn't see in myself. You cannot always see that. So being in rooms that I paid to be in, to have people say, that's a good idea, or here's how to enhance it, and tell me when it's done, was hugely, profoundly important on the journey.
How do we connect with you?
Christine Campbell Rapin is my name. You can find me at christinecampbellrapin.com, and the same name on every social platform. Rapin is Rapin. And I want to direct you, when you go to the website, to get the weekly client growth playbook, because snackable content that keeps you out of the weeds is what you need. Nothing in there. There's 5 tips every single week. You can digest them in 30 seconds or less. Take a good idea, go execute and follow it through. So like I learned, I teach. This is how you stay out of overwhelm, and I want you to win. So grab the weekly playbook. It's on the homepage.
I love it. ChristineCampbellRapin.com, MichaelNeeley.com, drmike.org, giftfromkimberly.com, and the justinCasePlan.com. Those were the fabulous links that you need to connect with. I want to say thank you so much to my panelists here today. I love sharing the stages with you. I love being on stages, and I love traveling the globe with you beautiful friends and people. And now you guys know why I show up every single day. These are the people I call friends. These are the people I get to hang out with. And if something they said resonated with you, share this episode with somebody. And if they did help make an impact, or what was the word again, Kimberly?
Contribution.
Contribution. If they made a contribution to your life, make a post, tell them leave a comment, tag them in a post, but make sure that you share this episode with somebody that you really care about, and never miss an episode of the Make Your Big Impact podcast by going to makeyourbigimpact.com. I'm Angel Tuccy. Remember that your story isn't just powerful. It was truly meant to make a nonviolent impact. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Angel. Bye, everybody.